Thunder, lightning, and heavy snow. Severe winter weather strikes the Midwest.
This is part of being a responsible pet owner.
Overrun with dogs. A new plan targeting specific breeds for sterilization. And our top story. More fallout from the UC Santa Cruz safety meeting in response to a campus rape. What students are saying.
You're watching KSBW Channel 8, Salinas, Monterey, Santa Cruz. This is Action News 8. Coverage you can count on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dan Green. We'll have more on that top story in just a moment. But first, we have some breaking developments to tell you about in a story that we have been following for months. The Monterey County District Attorney decided late this afternoon there is no evidence to charge Seaside police officer Justin Gill with making false police reports after an alleged attack at his Pacific Grove home. It was last July that Gill claimed he was stabbed by a Latino man outside his house, but investigating officers didn't buy the story at the time. They said that the evidence did not add up, and Gill's behavior was, in their words, bizarre. Gill talked to the investigators about sleeping with other officers' wives and that people were out to get him, they claim. Chief Vicki Myers, who is Gill's boss in Seaside, but also oversees the PG Police Department where the crime was reported, put Myers on paid administrative leave and then turned the case over to the DA. Tonight, Deputy Chief Louis Lumpkin, I should say, confirmed that Seaside Police have been conducting their own internal investigation concurrent with the DA's, and that Gill remains on paid administrative leave until that investigation is complete. Now to the public safety meeting on the UC Santa Cruz campus we first told you about last night. Students, staff, and police met to talk about safety issues after a woman was reportedly raped on campus Sunday. The effort in response to that rape is getting a mixed review. Action News reporter Phil Gomez has reaction live from Santa Cruz tonight.
Well, Dan, some students feel the public safety meeting was helpful. Others believe law enforcement shared information they already knew, but it did provide the 50 or so people the knowledge that they're not the only ones shaken by Sunday's attack. UC Santa Cruz Police provided a number of safety tips and plans they've put in place since last Sunday's rape of a 21-year-old visitor to campus. These include more police patrols, a safety escort service activated Tuesday, and those who wish to carry pepper spray should undergo training before carrying canisters. Campus police also announced there's a $5,000 reward being offered for the arrest of the rape suspect.
I felt like they told us things we already knew. So, I mean, I guess they addressed like very important issues, but I mean, we knew what they had to tell us.
I mean, additional patrols always makes me feel better on campus, you know? I mean, especially if you're like walking from McHenry to your car or something, you have to go through woods and it's really dark.
After the public safety meeting, there was also a rally in which more people showed up to hear speeches and poetry. It was an opportunity to gather and share their concerns about recent events. I also checked to find out how many people have used the safety escort service that's run from 8 at night until early in the morning. So far, less than a dozen, but again, the program was just launched a couple of days ago. And since Sunday's attack, one local store tells me they've seen a spike in pepper sales. Dan?
Yeah, not surprising. All right, thank you very much, Phil. Police on UC Santa Cruz's campus say they've gotten a lot of tips from the community about the rape. They're checking out each one. The Crime Watch latest news now on the murder of that little Castroville girl. The man accused of the crime was expected in court today for arraignment. That was postponed. Police are waiting on autopsy results. Police found 10-month-old Anjali Negron's body just 7 miles from her home on Tuesday. 47-year-old Jesse Espinosa remains behind bars tonight on suspicion of murder, child endangerment, and kidnapping. Coroners still have not ID'd the body that they found burned in a car in Salinas on Tuesday. The car was found at the Parkside Manor apartment complex just off West Laurel. So far, the only thing the autopsy reveals was the person was not shot. Police say that the next step is to go through dental fragments. That may take 2 weeks or more. They're still working to track down the vehicle and the owner. An Aromas woman who caused an 18-hour standoff with police and ultimately a school lockdown pleaded not guilty to all charges today in court. Jacqueline Woodard is facing felony charges of assault with a deadly weapon and making terrorist threats. Police say Woodard threatened to kill her husband, then shut herself inside her home last year. She is expected to return to court March 26th. Santa Cruz Sheriff's deputies, inmates, and neighborhood groups were cleaning out homeless encampments at the county's Emmeline complex in Santa Cruz today. This is the second sweep the sheriff's office has conducted in the last 2 weeks. Neighbors contacted police after the homeless were reportedly seen trespassing.
What we do is we look at quality of life issues in certain areas of the county, and if camping and or unlawful camping and drinking and drugs are kind of prone to that area, we go in and kind of look at the area to see what's actually contributing to the problems. Oftentimes it is people just squatting.
The crews filled a truckload with discarded bicycles, trash, about 30 needles. They were all found along Carbonero Creek. Police did not make any arrests. No tickets were issued either. There's a new program to help stem an overpopulation of small dogs, specifically Chihuahuas. All this happening in a Salinas neighborhood. Now, owners can get vouchers for low-cost spay and neuter surgeries. Action News reporter May Chow has details tonight. She's live in Salinas.
Dan, these vouchers are specifically targeted for dog owners in East Salinas who have small dogs weighing 20 pounds or less. The Animal Friends Rescue Project received a grant for $93,000 to fund low-cost vouchers for these pet owners. And the reason for this, too many small dogs roaming the streets or getting hurt, and too many showing up at shelters. There are simply not enough kennels for these dogs, and animal experts hope this program will give owners an incentive to get their pets altered.
Come and get them. I mean, we want people to be responsible. We want people to get their animals fixed because in the end, it saves lives in the kennel. So spaying and neutering does save lives.
It helps stem the overpopulation problem because just one extra litter every year contributes, that's one less animal getting out of the shelters.
Monterey County receives about 4,000 stray or surrender dogs each year, and more than half are small dogs, which weigh less than 20 pounds. The voucher program started in July, and so far 200 have been handed out. The Animal Friends Rescue Project says it hopes to have 1,000 surgeries by the end of next year. And the program also received a $9,000 grant to fund low-cost spay-neuter vouchers for small dogs in Castroville. Dan.
All right, thank you very much, May. If you own a small dog, it goes by zip code. So if you live in 93905, that's in Salinas, or in Castroville, 95012, you can apply for a voucher online, or you can call this phone number. The phone number is 888-656-1287, online AFRPSPAYPAL.org. And you can also go to the Animal Services Center there. It's on 144 Hitchcock in Salinas. In news across America, no progress tonight on a deal to avoid the drastic federal spending cuts they call sequestration. They're set to start March 1st. Hundreds of thousands of people are finding out this month that they could lose their jobs. In Norfolk, shipyard workers there learned of possible layoffs. They got written notices. Others are demanding that Congress stop the sequestration.
I got one when I got out of work yesterday, and I got one this morning when I went to work.
And, you know, if they take this away, a lot of people are going to be hurt.
So many people's, lives are in the hands of 300-something people, and then guys really need to put their heads together and figure something out.
President Obama telephoned top GOP leaders, but for now, he's winning a PR contest. USA Today polls are finding 31% would blame President Obama, 49% would blame congressional Republicans if there is no deal. Police have just released security footage from a New Jersey commuter bus crash. This actually happened back in January. Watch. Dashcam video shows the moments when the school bus turned into the path and the commuter bus slammed into a tree. 19 people were hurt. No children, luckily, were on that bus. An early morning gunfight on the Las Vegas Strip left 3 people dead. Happened about 4:30 this morning on Flamingo in Las Vegas. Police say driver of a Maserati, somebody in an SUV got into a gunfight and a taxi got in the way. Driver of the Maserati, the taxi driver, and the passenger in the cab were all killed. Police are still searching for the driver of the SUV. Continuing coverage now on the investigation into the Oscar Pistorius shooting. The lead investigator has been taken off the case. Prosecutors are now accusing Pistorius of premeditated murder. Action News reporter Michelle Kaczynski tonight from South Africa.
This was a battle between two very good attorneys. First, the defense blasted the prosecution's case about how police gathered evidence, things they said that were just wrong, and the fact that the chief police investigator now faces attempted murder charges for an on-the-job shooting. He is now off the case.
Embarrassing. There is nothing embarrassing for us as the police, because that's a judgment that you are taking.
But then it was prosecutors' turn to blow holes in Pistorius' account of what happened that night. They said even if you believe it, this is still the pre-planned murder of a burglar. Pistorius said he woke up in the pitch black, thought it was a burglar. He thought Riva was next to him in bed, grabbed his gun, and started shooting. Prosecutors say, wait a minute, he would have had to walk by Riva 3 times. And you think this is a burglar? You're not at least going to look to make sure she's there or try to wake her? At least look at her. They call his account totally improbable, said that Pistorius is prone to violence and that he is bound to be convicted. Of course, at this point, we don't even know whether or not he'll be released on bond. That is a decision that we expect tomorrow. Back to you.
Coming up, it's the only pot grow that feds endorse, where it is, and how a local university is taking advantage of it. Severe winter weather with thunder, lightning, and a whole lot of snow in the Midwest. How much before it's all over? And the flight cancellations and delays, the airports most affected. Coming up on Action News at 5.
You're watching the #1 news choice on the Central Coast with Dan Green, Health Watch 8 with Aaron Clark, and KSBW Weather with Jim Vanderswan. Coverage you can count on. This is Action News 8 at 5.
Well, when you get a thunderstorm and you get snow, you know, it's cold, you get this, thunder and snow. Wichita, Kansas, overnight. Doesn't happen that often. Part of a winter weather system moving across the Midwest, causing a state of emergency in Missouri and Kansas. Some parts of Kansas could see as much as 18 inches of snow. And it's big trouble all across Kansas. Many drivers have ignored warnings and went to the roads anyway. Others, consequently, were struggling. Snowplow, a casualty of the storm in Wichita. The driver was not hurt in an accident there. In Kansas City, Missouri, KCMO, up to 2 feet of snow is expected. Someone on the road, some stayed indoors. Business travel is standstill. Businesses shut down, schools closed. Telling workers, stay home, leave early. Just don't go out. And consequently, at airports across the country, hundreds of travelers in long lines this morning couldn't make their connections. Lambert International Airport in St. Louis, conveniently located off of I-70. Over 150 departures and arrivals have been canceled. At KCI, Kansas City International, flights have been canceled due to severe weather. KCI is way north of Kansas City. When you fly KCI, you feel like you have to drive to Nebraska to get there.
Just about it.
And so the problem with KCI is, you know, first of all, you can't get there.
Yeah.
So.
And then second of all, when you can, the runway's completely.
Exactly.
Right. So, you know, and it always amazes me. I mean, these people are getting plenty of advance notice on these storms. They don't sneak up on us in the dead of night, and yet they still insist on going out. And you can get yourself in a world of hurt. People lose their lives over being out there in the snow somewhere in a snowdrift, and nobody finding them for days. Meanwhile, no snowdrifts around here, boy. We don't do that game. Looking pretty nice. Couple little decorator high clouds. It's cooler than it looks. 53 degrees right now, and even though some temperatures barely nudged into the 60s, we're holding at 60 in Watsonville right now. It's cooling off rather quickly, so it landed about where we expected. Nothing wet in our end of the map here. We've got a couple of little showers moving into Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and into Montana. A little bit more down around Arizona, even over the mountains of Southern California. Another little ripple spinning up a couple little showers there, but That's about it. Nothing for us, I'm afraid, this time around. 34 in Tahoe. They could get a couple of snow showers on Saturday morning, and then it clears out. Go prepared for winter driving, but you'll have great snow. The rest of the state staying below normal. For that matter, so is the map. Look at that, 20s, 30s over most of these United States, stretching from the Pacific Northwest all the way to the East Coast. Down south, still a couple of 70s showing up places like Orlando and in San Antonio. But here's the storm that's doing the trick. Snow showers leaving in New England, but they'll get more soon. All of this is what's causing all the mess that Dan just showed you. Farther south is ice, and then we have some rain and thunderstorms moving along the lower Mississippi River Valley. As expected, storm making time, and it's heading for the East Coast on Friday. Wouldn't you know it? Always does. Meanwhile, the storm track here heading to the north of us. We're right down there. High clouds not even coming in to be much of an issue. We'll see a few over the weekend. Temperatures, offshore flow, cool off at night, but it'll be mild during the day. But this time of year, the air mass is so cold, you don't get those 70s and 80s yet. We have to wait a while for that. We may pick up a little bit more breeze for a few hours Saturday afternoon and then a little bit less on Sunday. Temperatures not varying a whole lot over the coming days, so you may as well figure it looks nice and clear, but it's still jacket weather. Fair and cold tonight, but most areas above freezing. That helps. Mostly sunny tomorrow, a little bit of a breeze, more wind the following day with partly cloudy skies as high clouds go by, but nothing wet, and likewise Sunday either. 63 degrees, mostly sunny, 5 to 15 miles an hour. And Dan, you were talking about that snowfall and the lightning and the thunder that was occurring. In the meteorological community, we actually have a term for that. It's called thunder snow.
Thunder snow? Thunder
snow, yeah. We really, you know, that was a committee thing. They got together. And
put old squad of guys on that one, did they?
Thunder snow.
Very good.
There it is.
All right. Thanks, Jim. We'll check in with you in a bit.
Okay.
Coming up on Action News, seafood that's fishy. Some restaurants and grocery stores, and there's a whole thing about fraud involved. Why what you may be getting wasn't what was advertised and where it's happening. First, Oscars just 3 days away. Predictions are coming in. Categories that are still wide open, all revealed. Coming up. First, Erin's here with a look at what's ahead tonight at 6. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Dan. We do have much more coming up at 6, including these stories. Close call today on the Bay Bridge. A crane collapsed. Big question now, will the crash delay the bridge from opening on time? We'll get the latest on that.
I'm Felix Cortez outside Salinas City Hall, where the Castañeda controversy continues. What's next for council member Jose Castañeda? That story coming up on Action News 8 at 6.
Plus, the fine wine is better with age, but will it be even better if it's aged underwater? We'll show you why one winemaker is taking his bottles for a swim. He's testing it out anyway, testing out the theory. We'll find out how it's going. That and a whole lot more at 6 tonight. We'll see you then.
Well, the Oscars are just around the corner. Expected to have some sure bets. A lot of categories are open. No surprises. Actor in a leading role. Experts say that Daniel Day-Lewis will be the guy if he wins the first ever to win 3 Best Actor Oscars. Argo could take gold for Best Picture. Anybody's game for actress in a leading role and actor in a supporting role. And, of course, Oscars happening Sunday, 4 o'clock, Central Coast ABC. And join our online Oscars watching party at KSBW.com. Again, all the Oscar stuff. There's all fashion, the works. You find everything. KSBW.com. Sports, Dan.
Yeah, Dan, Warriors and Sharks both off tonight. Both teams will get back at it tomorrow night. We've got lots of CCS playoff action in high school basketball tonight. 11 local boys teams are playing. 11 local girls teams are playing. Check us for results tonight at 11. Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick win the twin 150 races today at Daytona. That helps set the field for Sunday's Daytona 500. And world match play in golf. It was snowed out yesterday down there near Tucson. They're playing today. In fact, Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy are still on the course right now, trying to avoid elimination. We'll let you know when we come back in about an hour.
All right, thanks, Dan. Erin's next with our Health Watch 8 report. First, let's see how we finished the day on Wall Street. Dow today was down 47 to 13,880. NASDAQ off 33, 31.31, where we finished the day, and we're back in a moment.
tonight. We first brought you this story earlier this week, but now it's official. Santa Cruz County will receive a $25,000 grant, a reward for its efforts in improving the health of the community. Santa Cruz County is one of 6 recipients to win the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Roadmaps to Health Prize. County is being recognized for investing in, specifically, the health of young people. University of Mississippi has the only legally grown marijuana crop in the country. Researchers there have been working to find alternative ways to use THC, the main psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. So far, they have developed a new patch to treat glaucoma, nausea, and vomiting associated with chemotherapy. This year's flu vaccine is only about 56% effective. That's according to new data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. How well the vaccine works varies, well, pretty much year to year. Experts still say it is the best protection you have against the virus. Now, if you start to get any symptoms, they say you should start antiviral drugs like Tamiflu immediately. Also on the Health Watch tonight, when you buy fish, you might not be getting what you pay for. A fish fraud investigation found that a full 1/3 of seafood sold in the United States is mislabeled. Action News reporter Danielle Lee has the details.
From fresh off the boat all the way to your dinner plate, somewhere along the way, seafood is getting mislabeled.
Well, that's horrible. Yeah, because you want to get what you pay for.
Oceana, an international ocean conservation group, tested fish from 674 retail outlets across the nation and found mislabeling everywhere they looked. In Pennsylvania, 56% of the fish was mislabeled. Next up, Southern California at 52%. And in the nation's capital, 26%.
Some of the concerns with the mislabeling of seafood have been some of the health impacts. We found high mercury fish swapped out for lower mercury fish.
The study found sushi venues most often mislabeled their fish, followed by other restaurants, then grocery stores.
Snapper right here was the most commonly mislabeled fish. It was often replaced with something like rockfish. But if you look closely, the fillets are different. And if you look at the back at the fish's skin, they're really different.
So which one are you looking at?
Mark White runs a fresh seafood market. He goes to great lengths to ensure his fish is properly labeled.
You can always go buying the whole fish. That way you know exactly what you're getting.
At restaurants, it's more difficult. The fish often ends up cooked or covered in a sauce.
You should always ask them where they got it. It's important.
Chef Ann Cashin says reputable places will know the answer. But ultimately, it comes down to trust.
Right now, less than 1% of seafood is tested by the government for fraud. That's why Oceana wants lawmakers here on Capitol Hill to mandate seafood tracing to make sure it's safe, legal, and properly labeled. In Washington, I'm Danielle Lee, KSBW Action News 8.
You can get much more health news anytime on our website. Just click on the Health tab at KSBW.com.
All right. Thanks, Aaron.
You're welcome.
More coming up. First, though, live picture. This is Skycam 8 Salinas from atop Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital with your sunrise sunset times.